Welcome back to Listen Up. My name is Bradley Hoppenstein with Jordan Roberts to my left. Now, this was kind of an interesting season for a lot of NFL teams, and a lot of teams came out and disappointed us this season. Jordan, which NFL team disappointed you the most this season?
I think from an expectation standpoint, the Minnesota Vikings were by far the most disappointing team in the National Football League this year. This was a team that last year, with Case Keenum, a guy who was pretty much a career backup, elevated his game to the point where he was considered a borderline MVP candidate and led them to a 12-4 record and ultimately the NFC Championship, where my Eagles absolutely destroyed them. And the Vikings were so disappointing because they essentially had the same team. They had Thielen, they had Diggs, they got Dalvin Cook back off an injury who they did not have last year. They lost Jerick McKinnon, Latavius Murray came back. On defense, they still had Eric Kendricks, Xavier Rhodes, Linval Joseph. They had everybody. Danielle Hunter, they had everybody come back to their team. And they got what they thought internally within the organization was a premium over Case Keenum at quarterback and Kirk Cousins. They paid him $27 million a year, an $84 million contract over the course of 3 years, the first contract in NFL history that is fully guaranteed. This is a person that in his career, after this season, has an 8-25 record against teams that finished the year with a winning record in the National Football League. Basically, that means Kirk Cousins is not cut out for big-time games, no matter which way you slice it. He is the epitome of average. He is a very good completion percentage, but quite frankly, that's because he's the king of the check down. He can lead drives. What he can do is he can do enough for you to win a game, but he's not going to do anything that will win you a championship. He's not gonna win the game for you, but he can put you in a position to win the game, if that makes sense.
So I agree with everything you said on the Vikings, but which team disappointed me the most? I'm going to have to go with the Pittsburgh Steelers. This team is hyped up every year that this is the championship team. They'll beat New England. This is the year they go all the way. This year, I'd argue it was the most they've been hyped up in the past 4 or 5 years, and this team failed to make the playoffs. You have Big Ben leading the league in passing yards. This is the only team who had more than one wide receiver in the top 10 for receiving yards, and you're telling me you can't even make the playoffs? This is a team that tied with Cleveland week 1 with Hugh Jackson as the Browns head coach. This was before he got fired. This is a team who goes to Denver, is down by, I think, 3 or 4, need a touchdown to win the game, and Ben Roethlisberger throws an interception to lose them the game at the 2-yard line. This is a team that is playing the Raiders in a must-win game against an atrocious Raiders team. Big Ben gets hurt, he's cleared to play after half, and Mike Tomlin doesn't put him back in a must-win game? It's inexcusable. And with the schedule as hard as the Steelers found theirs this season, you can't be losing to the Browns, the Raiders, and the Broncos, and then proceed and go on to lose 4 of your last 6 games. If you're asking me who disappointed me the most this season, the Pittsburgh Steelers.